You may not know, but June is Migraine Awareness Month. And if you suffer from migraines, you're already aware of how debilitating they can be. Migraine Awareness Month is an opportunity to educate the world about migraine disease, as 38 million people in the U.S. suffer from them. Headache specialist and board-certified family practice physician Dr. Susan Hutchinson joins us with the latest drug-free treatment options. Good morning, doctor.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to hear about this drug-free option to help treat this, because as I mentioned, a lot of people suffering from migraines. I mean, and it truly is heartbreaking to know how debilitating it is.
Absolutely, it's disabling. As you mentioned, 38 million Americans in the United States in any given year with migraine. That's about 13% of the population. That's huge. And when you look at some of the common triggers of migraine, it includes hormones, stress, lack of sleep. And what we're seeing increasingly is complaints that changes in weather, changes in barometric pressure are a very common trigger for many migraine sufferers.
Well, and I want to, I guess, first ask, how do you know when it is indeed a migraine and just not a headache? How do you kind of decipher the two and when you really need to seek treatment and help?
Great question. When we think of headache, I think most people are thinking of tension headache. It's just mild to moderate in severity, doesn't really interfere that much with your daily activity. There's no nausea or sensitivity to light. Migraine, and I speak as a migraine sufferer, is much more than a headache. It can include a headache that's moderate to severe in disability, but there's often nausea, sensitivity to light and noise, and the degree of disability often causes you to miss work, miss social activities. So it's really the difference in disability that really differentiates migraine from headache.
All right, so let's talk about this treatment. What are you finding that's helping people?
Yes, I'd like to tell you about a fairly new treatment. It's called Migraine X, and it's an earplug, and it's drug-free. It's over the counter, less than $10, which is wonderful for my patients. And this is specifically to address those migraine sufferers that have changes in barometric pressure as one of their triggers. Now, it's best used in conjunction with the free app. It's called Migraine X, that can be downloaded from the App Store onto their mobile device. This app then sends them an alert when there's an expected or change in barometric pressure. And then the person can be proactive, and they can put these earplugs in that have a filter that helps minimize that change in pressure. And then they put that in and leave them in until the vulnerable time frame is done. And again, these earplugs are latex free. There's no drug in them. They're available over the counter, less than $10. There's even a money-back guarantee. And so I know many of my patients, they may need prescription medication, but they love to have these earplugs as a drug-free option in their migraine toolbox. So again, for those listeners, they go to migrainex.net to learn more. To download the app, they would go to their app store, and the app is called Migraine X. And also exciting is there's going to be a children's version of this coming out this summer.
So how do you find out if you are indeed affected by barometric pressure?
Great question. You need to start keeping a diary or calendar. That can be on paper, it can be electronic. And I tell my patients, you really need to think about what's happening for 24, 48, 72 hours before a migraine. And what I find is my patients will sometimes say, you know, Dr. Hutchinson, I don't even need to listen to the weather report. Some of my patients just know if there's a storm coming, if there's changes in weather, they just know that's a trigger. For other people, it's changes in hormone. A woman may have, you know, the trigger before her period. So again, there's some responsibility on the migraine sufferer to really look for patterns and to see if change in weather is one of their triggers, because then there's something we can now do about it. You know, they can get this Migraine X earplug, and again, I like to think of being more proactive rather than reactive with the migraine condition.
All right, pretty fascinating stuff. Doctor, thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning. I hope people go to the website to check it out.
Thank you. And once again, the website is migrainex.net. And thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you, doctor.